Okay, hi again. I hope you had a great conversation. Uh, in addition to being a community that centers the unconditional love of God, we are also marked by curiosity, integrity, and a commitment to creating belonging for one another, but also for the campus. In the past, we've talked about this as what it means to live faithfully on campus, to be curious, to be real, and to be community. We teach these expressions also as spiritual practices to our leaders, and it's helped really create a binding culture over the years of kind of what it means to participate in this Christian community. And a really important and I think sometimes neglected one of these expressions is being real, or when we're talking about it outside of that be curious, be real, be community, we talk about this as integrity. When we talk about integrity, what we mean is that we build a culture where students can be real and where they can show up as their whole selves. Newer students consistently report this as being something very unique about our community and something that they highly value. And just starting to read through new leader applications. And one of them, when we asked him why he wanted to be a leader for LCM, he said, I love how everyone shines their light here. I feel like everyone isn't afraid to be who they are because they know that they're loved, supported, and cared for in this community. Feels like everyone genuinely appreciates one another here and are continuing to grow in relationships with each other and relationship with Christ. I love how nobody is afraid to give their insights on the word and how everyone treats each other with humility and respect. I mean, that's what we hope, right, for our parishioners, that people can be seen for who they are, loved for who they are, and that they have a chance to really share those gifts with others. I think sometimes in being seen for who you are by a community, you come to trust that you can be seen in front of God, warts and all. We emphasize integrity as a part of our community because we're on a college campus, right? There's a culture of performance here in our world, certainly, but especially on college campuses, that causes high amounts of anxiety and stress. Students are performing all the time in classrooms, in dorm rooms, and on social media. Some even experience this within their families, sometimes not like even without the parents knowing that it's happening. They feel as if they're constantly being evaluated and are really afraid to make mistakes or to fail, um, because they're worried that that's going to come back to haunt them. So students need a place where they can shut that off, where they can name sin and brokenness as realities in their lives and discover that they're loved as they are, right, by God and by others as imperfect people. The word integrity shares a root with integer, which is another way to describe a whole number. We hope that as these students come to be seen and loved just as they are, warts and all, by God and by their peers, that they find the safety to consider bigger questions that integrity demands, like their vocations, how they live their lives holistically, right, as a whole person, in alignment with their ethics and their values and their many callings. So we do this in a few ways. We talk a lot about the Apostle Paul's teaching on the body of Christ and how we need diverse gifts and personalities and identities as a part of Christian communities. Even like the unique warts that we bring are a part of our diversity. We do our best and are always learning more about how to lift up the gifts of newer community members and put them to work quickly. We talk a lot about integrity and being real with our student leadership team. We practice making room for diverse perspectives and conversations. Students even created some ground rules last year to guide harder conversations. We talk about modeling. When you share where, like, how is it going? We model being where you're actually at, for better or for worse, right? Not simply matching the vibe of the room. We have a culture of one-to-one conversations where we really get to know one another. where we practice curiosity, and where people can be seen and known as more than just the first impression that they bring forward. At the end of each sermon on Wednesday night, I pause. I remind students of their belovedness, of God's grace, of the nothing you can do to earn it nature of our faith. It's so countercultural and is one of our most important witnesses on campus, I think. It's why we start with word and sacrament instead of something else. Now, we don't get this exactly right 100% of the time, but students have managed somehow, in a culture where performance really reigns, to nurture a culture in our community where this is a hallmark, right? Integrity, being real. It's really beautiful to see it passed down from one class to another to another. Okay, that's probably enough for now. I'm so grateful again for your warm welcome of our ministry and the student preacher and other people who care about it tremendously. I hope you have a great conversation with them. And if you see me out and about, please stop me and let me know that you're a part of the LCM family. Thanks so much.